Okay, welcome back. So here we are again. We're just looking at the code again, and we went over what all these mean. We're these are comments. So I want to point out that under my title for me on line 12 on this last one was part 1.4. Well, 1.4 is great. That's the assignment and in the learning management system, LMS that we're using. But I'm going to change that. But I'm not going to go back and change it. And then look at the first one we did. I used part 1.3, but down here in title on page 11, page line 11, I used page 1. Guys just couldn't think of anything else. Okay, so remember what an element is? An element is the beginning, the middle, and the ending of a tag. It's inclusive. Okay, and so the head element is that right there. The body element is right here. Now, on this screen up here, okay, and on your screen, you should be following along because there's a lot of little bits of information here. Notice this line at the top where it says index underscore 1.1 HTML and head. Notice that my cursor is at the head of the document, and here it's at the H1 document. And this series of spaces here. It's kind of like a breadcrumb in a website. It's called a breadcrumb, but here it's called a path to the element. So if I'm opening up a page and hey, just double click this guy and there it is. Okay. If I open up a page and I go, oh, there's an element, what is its path? But I want the path in real time. Now, this was the page that was loaded up when I just refreshed it, but I may mess with this page. I may change it. I can't even scroll it. I definitely can change the width. And as I do, it's cache's memory that's close to the process is changing. Okay, although if I inspect it, what shows up will not necessarily be a real-time view. Okay, we looked at that. Let me close that. All right. So we looked at HTML, or we kind of saw what HTML was. And let's see if I even have this open. Oh, I do. Okay. Let me bring this over. We kind of looked at it like HTML are the tags and elements that the browser uses. In this case, the browser uses to render it. It could also be another computer. It could also be, in here, teacher uses demos. It could also be a phone, okay? And in this case, we're keeping it simple on what the browser renders the HTML to be, okay? Consider, right, and I've mentioned this before, every language that's spoken and written, I suppose, every country in the world on pretty much every handheld or computer device, and I will add any API, application programming interface, connected to a computer. Like, let's say you wanted to have HTML connect to some satellite monitor or something like that, or a temperature sensor. So all of that has to be contained within three basic files, or three basic approach to design, all right, to make it happen. The first is HTML, and it is the structure and the content of a website. Then there's CSS, cascading style sheets, which are the presentation and the specification. And the specification really on HTML, I mean, if you look at this, wouldn't really be that much, would it? I mean, after you define it, that it wouldn't be that much. But it's because it connects, because JavaScript is the behavior of the website, we get into a lot of programming standards, both in HTML, which are part of the structure of HTML, and CSS are the rules that act on it for presentation. Okay, act on the code. So the specification, there's a lot of specification that we add that it just doesn't belong anywhere else except in the CSS, and we'll see that in time. And then there's JavaScript, which is the behavior. That is, when I open a website, I don't know, Do I have a website open? What is life? I have that open. I don't know if I open up a web. Oh, I have a website. Don't I have one? Didn't we create one? I thought we created one. Well, we can create one now. I'll just go over and go like this. And there I have it. So when we have a website open, we want to, we may interact with it. We may change something in it. And that is not the responsibility of the HTML nor the CSS to detect. There are listeners. And I can't put my finger out there, but at the tip of that mouse, there's a location. And I can move it, and the location's changed. And the browser, this program running inside this program here, this little executable in our operating system, can detect that. Okay? So as we interact with the page, the behavior of the page is important. Okay? And we control that through a more programming, well, I say more programming language, except this is an object-oriented language that we can use the elements as our objects. Okay? So just wanted to point that out. Notice that also, so we have the path up here. So basically HTML, I'm clicking these little angles, these little triangles here. HTML is two boxes, right? The head, which sets up the environment, and the body is what we show. And then, so it forms, this right here uses all the tags and elements that are recognized by a browser all over the world in every language, 24 hours a day, and any computer API that we may connect to. So it will always be like this. I mean, if you just go to any website, and let me go to a different website. Here, let me just go like this, and we just go to, say, Google, and we say, I don't know, what is life? Right? And we come to, we go, life, and we go down. We already went through this, didn't we? And we go to a website, right mouse button click, and we go view page source, which we're pretty good at now. And you can go and see and examine, sure enough, there's our HTML doc type, which says that, hey, it's HTML5 standard by definition. And this is a subset of XML, right? We saw where HTML was a subset of XML. It's just one of the many MLs out there. And so, and we have the HTML beginning tag, right? And then the head, which is a bunch of prefix, some links, and some JavaScript in the code, and the body. So there's JavaScript in the code, so I'm going to close that. If I go somewhere else, Control minus to make it smaller. If I go somewhere else on the page, right here's a link. Notice my mouse is messing with the page. It's scrolling, it's pushing, it's clicking on things, and the HTML is handling it. See a plant, so there's this plant that's growing. It opened up a little window. Can a robot be considered alive? And it opens up some more parts there. And there's a lot of media. Again, right mouse button click, in view page source. And again, the page source follows the same structure. The HTML opens and closes. Inside is the head, which sets up the environment, and the body, which holds the data. So all pages are like that. All right, so when you're learning at this level, that you have a box inside a box, going back to this HTML, okay, that's standard. You don't have to relearn this, all right? And an element, this is 1.1. Let me open 1.2. The element here, if you want to know its path, you can look right up here and see the path, all right? Again, we have our folder open with our many folders. I'm clicking up here on the upper left-hand corner and back. And we'll go into more of what we can do with the interface. Of course, file autosave is on. You save it off and you make a change, and that little X up here in the top turns to a circle when it isn't saved. So I can save it. I can go to File, Save down here, or I could go Control S Where's my ASCII? And I could save it that way. To free us from doing that, we put on autosave. That can save a lot. That can keep a lot of problems from happening. All right? Okay, that's enough of that. Let me think of some other stuff. We can also split the screen into different views. We'll get into that. And we can also change the actual colors of everything. Okay? So I'm going to stop it there just to keep these videos short. And we'll come back and we'll create the correct naming folder, our next file, where we're going to learn quite rapidly a bunch of tags just to get used to typing in the tags. So I'll see you there.